podcast of the proceedings.
Ganeshaya Namaha, Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Harihi Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, Om Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha, Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyamutate Namaha, Yata Ishu Shivatama Shivam Babhuvate Dhanuhu, Shivasharavyaya Tavatayano Rudramridaya, Yate Rudra Shiva Tanura Ghora Papakashini, Tayanastanu Vashantamaya Girishantabhichakashihi, Yamishum Girishanta Haste Vibharshastave.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Friends, Swami always wants us to be in tune with God. But many a times it happens that we are not able to be in tune with Swami due to various enemies which blocks the divine love. And today, with Swami's divine will and grace, we are fortunate to have a lovely couple with us who are going to enlighten us how we can practice spirituality in our daily life and make this divine love free-flowing. So would like to introduce our today's first speaker, Sister Dr. Shruti Kamath, who is a medical practitioner in homeopathy and certified in applied psychology and psychiatry. She is also an arts-based therapist using art forms for therapy for children with special needs. Along with this, she is a trained Bharatanatyam dancer, a singer, and a Veena player. We welcome you, Sister Shruti. Our next speaker for the day is Brother Akshay Kamath, who has been in divine proximity for 7 long years and had been a gold medalist for both BCom and MBA from Swami's University. He has acted in more than 50 odd dramas in Bhagwan's presence and got multiple opportunities to speak with Swami. He is currently working as AVP Finance in Strive, which is an edutech company, and carries 12 years of rich experience in corporate finance across India and South Africa. He is also a practicing life coach over last 5 years with over 100 odd youth and adults being mentored on a regular basis on practical and balanced life, happiness, relationships, career, and emotional wellness. So friends, together, Brother Akshay and Sister
So now can I think Brother Prasad is having a bit of a internet issue.
Yeah, I think we have just got disconnected. Just 1 minute.
No problem. We can get started if required, Naveen. No problem.
Okay, Bhaiya. Then sure, please.
Sure. Thanks, Naveen. Thanks, Sakshi. Offering ourselves at Bhagwan's lotus feet. May he speak to us. Anyata sharanam nasti tvameva sharanam mama. Tasmat karunya bhavena raksha rakshasa Ishwar. I think special prayers are needed today, especially because of the kind of topic that Brother Naveen and team have given us. It's a topic which I think everyone's been trying to solve over centuries and thousands of years, and becomes more and more relevant as we come into each decade and each year of new and new challenges. So yeah, how do you practice spirituality in the modern world, right? That's the topic. So what we'll try to do is try to give our perspective. I think want to put it out there that this is a very there's a disclaimer at the start of every movie. That the movie topic which has been put on us, there has been an amazing trailer for the movie which was created by Brother Naveen and team. I think the trailer might be more exciting than the movie itself, one of those rare events. But we'll try our best to put our stories. First thing is, at the start of every movie there is a disclaimer that these comments are purely personal. They are based on our learnings from Swami, from experiences from the people whom we talk to on a daily basis, whom Swami only has given us a chance to talk to. So that's coming from there, and it's not meant to hurt anyone. It's not meant to glorify someone or blemish anyone else. It's pretty much just to try and reach the goal which all of us are together trying to reach, which is Bhagwan's lotus feet. So first of all, to talk about us both, are we spiritual? I think it's a very difficult question. We'll come to what are the grounds of what we define spirituality as. We are very human. We make our mistakes. I'm a corporate finance guy who, in Hindi, who has to constantly do jhol, which is, all kinds of, finance is a world by itself. It's also a art as well as it is a science, through commerce. Shruti, you want to talk about, your world of medicine and healing?
Right. So I've been practicing homeopathy. I've been in the field of therapy, psychology for the last 10 years or so. And we've had this opportunity or whatever from Swami, to be able to connect with a lot of people, different kinds of people, and living different situations and finding their ground. And so we were trying to, understand what are the kinds of people we generally, if you have to broadly categorize into, just for a case study, is that there is one, set in context to our discussion today is understanding spirituality. And, in one context or one terminology of spiritualities, people, there are some people, who that, they are to be the spiritual. They are those who have been termed in their in some definition of they are spiritual. So, but the moment you go in their presence, there is some, you don't feel comfortable, maybe for the energy or because of the their actions or words, and that is one understanding of spirituality. And then there is this set of people who are extremely soft, kind, loving, and they fall under this one understanding definition of spirituality. But if you zoom into their lives and understand their subjective experience, and there lies a lot of unhappiness which they are not able to help themselves with. So they are unable to find happiness or make themselves happy or find solutions for themselves in the life that they are living. And then there is this, set of people who are sorted. They're sorted guys. They have studied. They've done the most difficult kind of, whatever startups, IIMs. They've reached their goals. They want to achieve everything that they want to be able to buy anything that they would will for. And they are aligned in thought, word, and deed, and they have. They have nothing to do with spirituality. Okay, as per them, they're not chasing spirituality. They're not chasing nirvana, moksha, nothing. That's one. And then there is this trenders. There are the cool people who are on every social media platform and who have immense number of followership, and who are working very hard towards it. And
that might be for a certain motto, for anything. It can be for a cause. The speed of growth of popularity is very fast, right? And among all this, in our terminology, the word spiritual is like, there are quite a few youth here. There is this concept of having a chicken dinner, winner chicken dinner in PUBG, for example. That way, if someone calls you spiritual in our circle, it's something like winning a pageant or getting a blue tick on Instagram. But at the same time, when I look at talking about the word spiritual with youth, it's taken in a very different manner. They think it's very uncool. It's basically about dragging you into things that you don't want to do. So there is this supreme, kind of disparity between what is spirituality is as a term. And so without wasting too much time, we we'll just straight away go to the definition which, the founder or the creator of the universe for us has spoken, and that is Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And followed a very nice discourse of Swami just for searching for what is spirituality. A lot of this talk is sponsored by Google, so thank you, Google, basically. So the point is, Swami says in a very simple line, one-liner, what is spirituality? He says, giving up on our animal feelings, which are kind of, accrued on us over time, through our genetics, through our past births, through our own experiences with people around us. In a very simple line, spirituality basically means giving up on these animal feelings. And what do you mean by animal feelings? The simple ones which are taught to us in Bal Vikas, if you put it. What do you call it? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Do we struggle with it? Yes, I have severe anxiety issues. I have also, stress points where, I recently got promoted. The first thing which I did was, even as I got my letter on my mail, the first thing which I do is I go on LinkedIn and I put it up there. Promoted to whatever, associate vice president. Very happy. And, then after every 15 minutes starts, looking how many people have liked me, how many people have congratulated me. That's, might be that's playing into a bit of pride, a bit of, whatever you call attachment to it.
I have had my own issues with respect, I need things done in a particular way, in a particular time frame. And when it's not done, like if I wake up in the morning and I see the kitchen and, we have certain things we do by ourselves. And if Akshay has not done something and I'm like, my temper starts rising. And so that is, and we all have these, we all have these downfalls and small, big in our own ways, which we have been brought up with, coming from our genetics, coming from our situations. So the first thing that will help that we have gotten on the journey of is self-audit. How do we break this down, these difficulties in, first is identifying patterns that we develop over time. For example, in my case, it's about this irritability, anger. In his case, probably about the anxiety. And first is identifying what are those patterns that you get yourself into. What are the kind of emotional or situational patterns you attract? And then, then comes to the whole exercise of resolving it, talking it out and resolving it.
So the first step, in practicing modern spirituality is, I think the simple word is, and this is what Radio Sai also beautifully puts out, is self-audit. Write it down. Take a notebook, sit and write down exactly what you feel is your struggle and be very honest to yourself. They say that, it's absolutely important to acknowledge it. So once you do that, then it is easy to move ahead. So step number one, self-audit. Let's do it. And again, I hope we are not boring you. We'll get to the exciting parts just to get through the basics. And just to put it out there, Swami says this line, and it's very interesting in this discourse. The first line he says is, giving up on your animal feelings, and which is accrued over time, is spirituality. Second line, he says, doing bhajans, japa, dhyana, namasmarana is very good, but just doing that does not mean you are spiritual. Absolutely important to put it out there, because he says, and he gives an example, saying you finish your bhajan, you come back home, you find a hair in your food, and then you scream at your wife or the cook for having that mistake. That's not spirituality. Absolutely not. So equating ourselves based on the activities, but the inability to translate it into a daily life structure is clearly not spirituality. So very important point out there, and it's important to note that, because that kind of breaks a lot of beliefs which many youth have issues with, right? So just putting it out there.
On the other end, it does not mean, or we are not trying to say that you should not be doing bhajans or namasmaran or whatever type of sadhana you choose. But it's not about, we are not very regular at the activities, maybe as of the last 2 years, but doesn't mean either way that.
Yeah, we're not going, we are not attending, not because of revolt or hate. It's just a choice. And you have to do something else, right? And we'll come to that. So I think when we were discussing this topic initially with Ratan Naveen and the team, the topic initially was how to have spirituality in the materialistic world. And we kind of changed it slowly into modern spirituality or practical spirituality for a very specific reason, right? just bringing a story of Swami here because it's absolutely important. There is this wonderful professor of Swami's college who was even taught me, and very intellectual, very nice person. And when he had initially joined once, he had this burning desire, to understand this story of who am I? What does it mean to be completely spiritual, right? And one day Swami, decided to, in today's world, everyone gives you this free trial, 15-day trial, 3-day trial of diet plans or health plans. So Swami decided to give him a free trial of the spiritual, elevation. One day Swami was walking in darshan, just taps his head suddenly, like there's just tapli. All of a sudden, this sir is totally aligned with everything. He can feel Swami and he are one. It's like this. He feels the mandir is within him. Sai Kulwant Hall is within him. He is in Sai Kulwant Hall. The entire crowd who is sitting there are one among him. Basically, that feeling of oneness, which Swami says, no, you are all one Atma. He feels that. And that feeling continues for him for like 3 days continuously. And he's like in bliss. And at the end of 3 days, one day again, when Swami, he's sitting in darshan, Swami again gives him the tapli, and he's back again. So he said that after some time, I had stopped understanding what is normal and what is abnormal. And this, after the demo session, this world felt abnormal. This living in this normalcy. And so he kind of, decided, that I am going to try to pursue just achieving this oneness all the time. And so the first thing which he did was, I'm going to stop involving myself with the world, stop talking to people. He resigned from the college. He said, I don't want to teach also. I just want to focus on Swami. I just want this feeling. And everyone around told him, sir, please don't resign. Swami only has given you this job of teaching in the university. Please don't leave it. He said, no, Swami has also shown me what I am capable of by cutting off from the world. And he resigned. Now, Swami was in Vrindavan at that time. Swami came back. After a few days, Swami called all the teachers in for an interview. So sir was on a notice period at that point of time. And Swami started talking about sadhana and this and that. And then Swami asked him, so Professor, what sadhana are you doing now? So he was super proud. He said, Swami, I am focusing on this question. Who am I? I am absolutely aligned to it. I am going to achieve that. So Swami was very happy. So Swami said, very good. Then as a follow-up, sir looked at Swami and said, wow, Swami is happy. I'm going to tell him everything. He said, and as a, side effect to this, I have basically resigned, Swami, from the college. I'm not going to interact with anyone. I don't want to teach. I just want to focus on this spiritual activity. And he was expecting Swami to say, very good, correct. Suddenly Swami's face turns red. Eyes are angry, like fully blast. And Swami told him, if you leave the college, if you leave teaching and just say that that is not spiritual and you are just thinking that you're going to do something which is spiritual, I can assure you that I will not give what you want in 1,000 births. In 1,000 births, I will not give you what you want. He immediately fell at Swami's feet and, very sorry, Swami, I will teach. Swami said, yes, go and teach. Be a part of society. Work the way you have to work and do and offer all of that. That's not that this is spiritual and that is not spiritual. In time, I will give you what you want. You go do this work. Such a brilliant lesson, to understand what, that everything is spiritual. Another professor, one day, Swami in those early days was interacting with students, teaching them about management. One day he materialized this beautiful Schaefer pen, very costly gold plated Schaefer pen. And Swami broke the pen into pieces and was teaching costing and pricing, finance terms from using the pen as an example. And at the end of it, he took this and gave it to a very senior devotee, this pen, and said, keep it, be happy. So, but this devotee was working again with the education institutions. He kind of decided, he's not going to use this pen for everything. So he started using his normal ballpoint pen for all the work. And this pen was, kept very specially. So one day,
Swami's notes.
Yeah, for Swami's notes. He would only use that pen to write when Swami is giving discourses. That was his point. And then one day Swami called him inside the interview room. And this sir comes in with, with his normal ballpoint pen in his shirt. And Swami said, hey, where's that pen I gave you? So he said, Swami, I use that pen only for spiritual activities, not for normal things.
For worldly.
Not for worldly things like, my work. Swami gave him such a cold look and said, the first thing I want you to learn is that everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. And he said that I was the head of this university. I've been the head of educational institutions. But as a student of Swami, this was my first lesson that everything is spiritual. There is nothing that is not spiritual. Even Kasturi Garu, very beautiful story, he was 3 months away from his retirement, and Swami had told him, after that you come and you work, will stay with me, and then you become my biographer and all this stuff. And 3 months remaining for retirement, he was the principal of a college, and he one day went to Swami in darshan just because he said, Swami, Amma, 3 more months and then I can give up all this and pursue this spiritual path with you, being with you and writing. And Swami said, and Swami is 20-year-old at that time, right? Swami 1950. Swami is like 24, 25-year-old. Kasturi Garu is 60-year-old, been a principal and such a distinguished academician. Swami says, what wisdom do you have after so many years, Pa? Right? If you're thinking that all this work of working with students, being a principal of a school is not spiritual, and just being with me is spiritual, then what wisdom have you accrued? Right? It was such an eye-opener. Extremely important to remember, that everything is spiritual, or everything can be spiritual. And I think the brothers at Radio Sai, I think, bring it out very beautifully. They say this in one line. They say, don't pull yourself out of something for Swami, right? Don't pull yourself out of your daily work saying, okay, this is daily work and this is Swami's work. Ulta, bring Swami into every work that you're doing. Such a beautiful line. Right? Because some devotees went to Swami and said, Swami, we are not able to give time for bhajans. We are not able to give time. We are studying. We are doing competitive exams. We are working in corporates. They don't give us time. Even on Saturdays, we are working. Very sorry, Swami, we can't give time. Swami said, if it's fine, if you're not able to do that, it's okay. But please, at least try to bring me in the conversation. For example, there's this beautiful Balbika story of a butcher, right? I think he chants God's name only 3 times a day. And he's doing butchery, and still I think Vishnu says he is the most spiritual person out there, versus Narada also, who kind of chants God's name all the time, because this man is so engrossed in his work. And just you need to remember God 3 times a day is enough. That is enough from being spirituality. So what is spiritual and what is materialistic? Pretty much there's nothing of that, right? Let's first bring that point out there, right? Right. So anyone, just quickly, I'm just opening the stage. If anyone wants to discuss anything here, or we'll go to the points and then we can maybe at the end, I leave it with the host, Naveen, Sakshi, anyone. I just leave it with you guys. How do you want to run it? If anyone has a question, please feel free to ask, or any point to discuss, or we can just keep moving and at the end we can have a discussion as you wish. Right. Okay, let's move on. Very important, and let's start bringing in this beautiful trailer which the team had made about decision making. How do you take decisions in daily life on spiritual perspectives, whether you need to push something like take a difficult decision at office and all those kinds of things. And please, everyone, feel free to stop us at any time and ask. Okay, it's not like there's some rule, or
you can unmute.
As I said, we are human. We are also making mistakes, and this is our perspective. So thanks a lot. We are just continuing, and please stop us or type a question. We'll be happy to discuss it with everyone.
Yeah, directly also if you want to ask something.
Yeah, if you don't want to, show your identity, then just write it in a chat box to us individually. We are fine to take it. So next question. So how do you live life if everything is spiritual, or everything can be spiritual? That there is no way to remove spirituality from anything. How do you live life, right? Based on our own life experiences, and I think a bit of stories that people have told us. Means I was fortunate enough to live in Swami's hostel for 7 years. We both had this beautiful opportunity to spend 4 years in South Africa with as a part of our work, my corporate job, and then we met beautiful devotees from there. Lovely experiences with that team. Some of that family also has attended today. Thanks for that. So we just try to give the points which we were able to create as a part of that. So step number 1, right, about living spiritually in as per us. The first thing is, please blend in be a Roman in Rome, be cool, you know, be chilled. It's not something which is difficult, which is hard, which is painful. You know, say something.
I think
we'll go ahead with that. Yeah.
Like what Geeta.
What Geeta auntie said. You want to say that?
So Geeta auntie shared one very
Geeta auntie is
Geeta Ram Mohan auntie.
Yeah.
Geeta Mohan Ram auntie. She's the one who was very close to Swami right from her childhood. She has sat on Swami's lap and she has heard a live streaming of Kulwant Hall bhajans on Swami's lap from his, you know, from her ears. She heard from his chest, like it was actually radiating. So anyway, she said about, you know, Swami, she had to shift to US after marriage, and Swami told her, you know, as part of his mentor or guiding rules, like he told her, please don't sit wearing sari around. You're not going to be in Parthi. This is going to be US. You better wear pants and shirt based on what people wear and blend in with them. And then you shine with your with our principles and, you know, my love. So he was very clear about it, and she openly spoke about this. You know, Swami was very clear about how you include yourself in a community, in a group, and then you know, show slowly your characteristics, your inner. So that's very important. So
very nice question also has come through, sir. I think we'll come to it. I think it's a part of our discussion. This is a very nice question about if you're required to punish someone in office, say penalize him, how can it be related to spirituality? We'll come to it. It's a beautiful question. We'll cover it as we go ahead, right? So coming to this point, you know, about blending in, being a Roman in Rome, right? Very beautiful point, because what Geeta Ram auntie said is a struggle for many of us. Even I, as a science student, have seen some of my brothers struggle. We do these annual sessions where, you know, students have to go into the outside world and start working there. So they struggle with, because when you are in the college, you know, every woman whom you speak to, you either call her sister or mother, right? Now, if you go out there to in offices, and especially in MNCs today, literally it has happened that someone, you know, called his boss mother. It was a big issue. It became a big issue. So you know, then you get feedback saying, you know, okay guys, you know, you need to blend in. It does not mean that you need to call them mother or sister. You can call them by their names, but you can have the feeling of a sister, or, you know, you can give them the respect of a mother as necessary. It is more about your intention, and the action can be coming later. You know, some people have had this thing that, you know, they want to wear white in offices, while that is not the uniform and causing issues there. We don't need to do that. The concept of wearing white in spirituality is two-parted. One is it makes you feel pure. The second thing, more importantly, as students, why we were made to wear white was because when anyone wears whites, right? It kind of equates your financial position. It's a big leveler. Anyone who wears white, you can't make out if this guy's white pant and white shirt is, you know, of a poor person or a rich person. And the beauty of Swami would give everyone these same safari suits every year. So by the end of 2 years, something, all of us would look the same. It's a way of kind of ensuring uniformity. So don't worry about, you know, needing to wear white as a struggle. That's very important, right? That's the perspective. So important to question and ponder over things, you know, what constitutes spirituality, right? I remember this beautiful incident again, you know, about kind of, you know, activities that we do. How do you remain spiritual? There was a student who was very close to Swami at one point of time, and and he used to love reading. And someone in the college gave him the book Godfather. Somehow he managed to get it. Brilliant book. I've read it myself. Mario Puzo, very well written book, very strong, and as a drama guy, you know, it's pretty important to read such, you know, content, because it kind of helps you visualize different things. So this boy read it, enjoyed the book. The next day he was with Swami close by, you know, I think in the interview room or somewhere, and Swami told him, "Hey, mafia, kaisa hai?" So the entire book is based on the Italian mafia gangs and all of that, right? He immediately told Swami, "I'm very sorry, Swami. I shouldn't have read it. I'm very sorry. I didn't have control." Swami said, "It's not a problem. You know, you read it. It's okay. The important thing is, after this, don't sit.
Don't carry it with you.
Don't carry it with you. Ruminate. You know, I want to become a mafia. Then next day, with every person you're seeing, you know, the gun comes out, pew, pew,
Identifies.
you're doing, and, you know, then you start dressing up like black and, you know, slick hair. So don't carry it beyond. Yeah, don't carry it beyond a while. Read it, see it, leave it. That's fine. The same thing which comes with our Instagram stories, or, you know, the reels, or Facebook. Given that we have spoken to thousands of people now, you know, by Swami's grace, we've talked to people who are blue ticket people as per social media, you know, very smart, very followed people. Are they happy? No.
Not
right?
necessarily.
Yeah, many of them, like, they struggle with different things, but, you know, when you see the life out there, you feel like, okay, I need to be there. And you can see it and enjoy, it's fine. But the next day, if you're going to your parents and say, okay, I also need an iPhone Pro, which is 1,20,000 rupees, and I need this, and I need to wear Gucci dresses, and I need a phone, and I need this and that, then you're carrying it with you. Like, the important thing is in spirituality is letting go. It's not possible maybe to regulate all the content, to stop or throw away your phone. But it's the same thing, you know, hands in society, but head in the forest. Go through it, but then you should be able to get out of it. That's very important here, right? In the same way, I think you want to talk about our drama in South Africa, right?
We had this opportunity to actually write and get an entire team of youth to Parthi from South Africa for a pilgrimage, and we had to start right from scratch, right from getting the team together, writing the script and everything. And in order to bring youth together, right, what is the best way to get to them and to get them recruited, if you have to say, for a team? So you find them, full entire week they'll be working. So on the weekend is where you catch them. In the weekend, where are they going to be? They're going to be having dining or at some nice restaurant. So we actually went on with everyone. We invited them to a salsa party because that's where generally they are. And we called them, got them together. We had an amazing time there. And you have to have your discrimination and everything in this whole thing. Your intention is important, that we wanted to bring them together. And that's exactly where we told them the idea about the whole drama. And we actually identified characters from there, and then it was.
So was there alcohol? Yes. Were there women? Were there provocative clothes? There was everything. I'm being very open here, right? But the point is very important. What have you gone there for? What's your intention? It is to meet this team of people who are from Sai families. They are there because that's the place where all of them you will meet for one. So they were shocked to see us first time. But then after that, for the next 6 months, they were in the mandir practicing every day in, day out, to the extent that this entire team went to Parthi and performed in front of 25,000 people. And each of their lives has been touched so beautifully by Bhagwan in time. But the first step, if you need to get it there, keep your intention clear and blend in. That's absolutely important. So spirituality does not mean staying aloof of the thing, right? So, and sir, I think as your question, right? If you're required to punish someone in office, say penalize him, there must be a specific reason, right? There is a defiance of certain official rules. And if you are his manager, that's your dharma out there. So you cannot suddenly say, okay, spirituality means, just being kind and sweet.
It's a respect to dharma, respect to rules.
Yeah, and sorry, there's a little bit of sound of water leaking, but they're just coming there. So just putting it out there, for example, in our hostels, right? It was a very beautiful story. I would just like to bring you in there. When we were leaving our Parthi hostels, right? Our warden came to us one day and said, "So, boys, who is the most hated person in Parthi for you?" So we were all silent. We were laughing because our warden sir was super strict with us. I tell you, ultra strict. Punishments just being doled out for free like that. That level strict. Doesn't want you to put a foot wrong, right? And he's talking to Swami every day and all that, right? And he said, "Who is the person you hate the most?" And we were all silent. We were laughing because he was very relaxed that day. And he said, "It is me, Babu. It is me. I am the person who is hated the most." So he said, No, sir. It's not. He said, No, it's fine. I understand it. But he said, "Do you think I want to be hated? Do you think I do this personally?" So we were silent. He said, "No." He said, I'm not a hateful person perspectively. I'm following Swami's instructions to the T, right? I'm following instructions to the T. He said, so we said, "How, sir?" So he said, when I was, when Monday Swami, called me to the interview room and said, If the boys, do something wrong, you should fire them. You should punish them. You should see that they walk the right path. So he said, Swami, but I love the boys. They are in their teenage. They are bound to make mistakes. It's a normal teenage rebellion, right? I love them. So why should I punish them? Swami said a very simple line. He said, have they come to love you or have they come to love me? What a beautiful question, right? He asked the professor, have they come here to love you or have they come here to love me? He said, Swami, they've come here to love you. He said, yes. So in case you need to be hated so that they love me, that is you doing your duty, right? In the same way, sir, in your office, if you need to penalize a person, right? Because he needs to love the rules, he needs to fall in line with the performance standards that are required. Because I have done it myself. I have a team of 5 people under me and I need to penalize them once in a while. I have an official annual job of, ensuring that the company's strength of team, reduces by a certain percentage every year because we bring in technology to automate. So it ends up that, 50, 100 people might lose their jobs in my company. It is a part of the performance, the way the company runs in my company. So is that not spiritual? The perspective is not that. The perspective is, I look at the greater good. My team, my company has 20,000 people. If we do not become more and more efficient, these people are not going to be able to grow. You will never be able to give them the right salaries. You cannot create the right opportunities. And, without the profits, the company will shut down in a couple of years. So looking at the greater good perspective of the organization, we need to take this decision. That's the way I run, my corporate life, frankly. Brother Pramod, I think, Sairam, how do we know we are growing spiritually? Beautiful question. I think we'll come to it. And at the end of it, Pramod, brother, I'll also be happy to share with you a lovely, Radio Sai, link on this exact topic. They've spoken for it for an hour, but we'll cover it in short based on, the kind of answers that we have. Moving on. So the first perspective of life, as we discussed, to try and be spiritual is to blend in, is to be cool, is to be relaxed, is to remember that Swami is a very peaceful, loving, cool God who loves us in a very nice way. The second thing is performance, right? Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Spirituality is excellence in action. Why I would say this? Because I think, Shruti, we have had this discussion, right? That Swami, Swami is a very modern God. If you want to know modern spirituality, it is Swami. We are just taking lessons from him. The entire concept of him designing the university and the college. And in the university, he could have put courses like Master of Meditation, maybe. Right? Or Master of Silence, or I don't know, because, or Master of Bhajan singing. And again, it's possible, right? Music, or he created the music college, but again, creating professional musicians from there. But the rest of the courses were very simple. Business,
very basic,
straightforward. It was everything, right from nanoscience to MBAs to PhDs and hardcore. The students were supposed to write GATE exams and qualify for IIT level PhDs and stuff like that. And Swami would grant them even higher blessings. So the perspective was always performance. Why would he otherwise run an MBA there? And an MBA from which year? 1986. Right? That's 35 years ago. And Swami, for the first 2 years of the MBA course, was coming in and giving lectures on man management, on pricing, costing, TQM, total quality management, long before these things were even discussed in the top Ivy League colleges. Why? Because, he wanted to create people who are futuristic, who are out there, who can go and perform. So it's absolutely important to perform. I remember that, they would tell us, Swami's, you're coming to the college for Swami. And if you ask Swami, why are you coming? Swami would say, you're coming for 3 S's. Studies, studies, studies. That's all. Swami comes later. You're not going to miss your classes for darshan. That's the kind of simple performance which was there. And Swami had put rules. Like if, for example, if a singer or an actor who was very close to Swami was to secure a grade which was below 60-70%, he'll say that boy should not sing or act in front of me until he corrects his grade and brings it all up.
That's why you had the all-round gold, all-round medal.
Yeah, the all-round medal was Swami's favorite medal. He wanted people to be all-rounders out there. We need to perform. For example, I would take it to a higher level, right? When Sachin hits that cover drive to Breckley, you can go on YouTube. It's one of the most watched videos. Full scale MCG, straight drive, I think, straight drive basically, right? such a straight shot. It would have taken years and years to practice, right? Through that practice, that shot coming in through that perfect accuracy, that is spirituality. Right? Heath Ledger playing the Joker in Batman, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
That is spirituality. Him locking himself in a room for ages to just get into the role.
Yeah.
Right? I would request you guys to also watch this beautiful documentary on YouTube called AlphaGo. It's about this, about this software which is developed by Google and a company called DeepMind, of how they're able to crack the toughest games in the world and create artificial intelligence. And they say that's like a spiritual experience at the end of it, when the machine starts thinking on its own and they have built that kind of individuality into it, right? It's you have to perform. And at the same time, I'll give a very hilarious story, because as we were saying at the start, right? We are human. We have got kicked and booted by Bhagwan specifically so that, we can try and improve. We're still a work in progress, but he never stops teaching. I remember this time in Parthi, we were as a part of a drama, and me and two of my friends, we were in this most prestigious drama in front of Swami, and two of my friends, we were sitting during practice in the institute auditorium, right at the corner, last seat at the back, absolute behind, where there is no one, like literally three of us, and we are watching the stage. There's another scene getting practiced, and then there is this boy who was a bit new into acting, and we are considering ourselves, like high performers. And this boy is struggling on stage, and the directors are telling him, no, do it this way, do it that way. And we are like, come on, yeah, this guy, not performing, man. Like really, it's such an important thing, and this guy is not stepping up. And then we are like, all of us are like, yeah, that's the thing. Three of us sitting in one corner, nobody. In the evening, I'm sitting outside, and some of these boys were sitting inside the bhajan hall. And Swami comes, and Swami says, where are the convocation actors? And these two boys who are three of us were in this, jhol, as we call it, and two of them were there, and they go to Swami. And Swami, we are a part of the convocation drama. He says, which scene are you? So they talk about the scene in which three of us were involved. And Swami said, how are you acting? So they said, Swami, I think we are acting okay, Swami. Swami said, you're sure you're acting properly? So yes, Swami. Okay, you act properly. Okay, focus on your acting. These guys were looking at each other, what happened. And when at the end of the bhajan, some other brother came and said, what, Swami was asking about your scene and all that. And I'm like, yeah, come on, Swami is giving attention. And these other two brothers who are my friends on the same scene come like cold, like this, shaking, shivery. They're like, what happened, bro? Swami spoke to you guys. They're like, bro, Swami booted us for, doing what we did in that corner there. I'm like, oh God, is Swami going to look at us again? It was such a revelation that, in performance also, yoga karmasu kaushalam, focus on your performance. Don't try to look at your performance against others.
Another thing is, in spirituality, that it's like you said, right? Performance. When you perform at maybe drama, you get claps as a return. When you give an exam, when I give a medicine, right? It's my performance or whatever that is, and I get something that I see the patient is better or not better. How do you measure this, performance ka return in spirituality, right? So we were discussing that. He said that there has to be, like, we have to know how do we recognize the returns to this kind of path or effort that we put in, right? For example,
and there's a question about that, right? About how do you measure your
spirituality progress? Yes. So, that very beautifully, we just, while we were going through, understood, like, we know this very famous thing that you take one step towards Swami and he takes 100 or 1,000 steps towards you.
Yeah.
So, but there's a little tweak in that, you take one step and he will first take 10 silent steps towards you.
Which you can't even see.
So you don't know that he's actually taken those steps until, maybe after a certain period of time, duration, where you enjoy you see the benefits, or you see the...
And they suddenly come.
Yeah, then you suddenly, and it all comes together. And then it's like, oh, Swami, you were there all this while, thank God. So a similar thing happened with me when we went to South Africa, and we were there for... means I was having my own practice here, and we shifted suddenly. It was like within 2 months, and I was not allowed to practice there, for the degree did not match. And so I was for the next 4 years that we were in South Africa, I did not practice. I did not do anything in relation to homeopathy to the extent I would like to. So I was not allowed to. So I did whatever came my way. I did therapy, counseling, everything for obviously as voluntary basis, because it was not legally allowed to do. I was not legally allowed to do anything.
For money.
I did for money. Then I did translation from Hindi to English in a soap factory. Then I learned to drive there. I got the confidence to drive there, and then we did this whole drama of an entire. I learned about sound editing. I learned a lot about drama from him. I got thrashed there. All those things, and then we start this. We get this thing from Swami or whatever that we start when we are coming back. We start something called as my clinic called Ask, and it just takes off. And then you realize that all those efforts you took for those 4 years have not gone in vain. They will never go in vain, whatever efforts you put, because since the time we started it, it's only growing with Swami's grace only, purely. Okay. So I understand today that those 4 years were not a waste of time. It was not going unnoticed. Every investment of time you put into something is going to reap its benefits at the end of the duration that you don't know. You don't know when, where, how it will happen, but it will happen. And that's, that return you will enjoy, that belief or faith or whatever you'll have to go with for that time.
So you have to go in with the faith that no good effort goes unnoticed. And that's fundamental about spirituality. Because if you try to connect the time of the fruit immediately with the effort, you're going to get confused like nothing before, right?
It's like put your head down and go ahead until Swami gives you the red signal.
Absolutely.
Don't keep asking for the green signal, green signal, green signal. We may not be able to get those cues. We may not be
because
able to.
Because in the past, people who used to live in Sparti, right, who was permanent residents of Parthi, for example, if they wanted to go to Bangalore, if they wanted to just go to the small Kottacheru village on the side, they would first come to Darshan, ask Swami, Swami, I want to go to Bangalore. Swami
what
say,
color paint I should put on my house wall?
That also you ask Swami.
Everything he would say yes.
And Swami would give the answer. Swami would say, yes, go, don't go, all that. And after Swami is physically not there, right? How do you take decisions then?
Yeah.
So one brother very beautifully said it again. He said that now you can't wait for the stop and go signs. You have to keep acting, taking Swami's name, saying, Swami, I'm acting, with your presence. But please show me the red signal, right? Please show me the red signal when I should stop or when I shouldn't do something. And for us, it has been so evident in so many places that, yes, this is the red signal. Stop, don't do this. It's been amazing. You have to crave for that red signal. It does come, right? And also in this performance related point, conceptually, spiritually, people should feel like living the life you're living, right? I remember this, that, our teachers used to tell us that they should feel like, who is this guy going? You need not have the symbol of Prashanti Nilayam or on your back or Sarvadharma symbol or maybe the scarf. Again, as I'm saying, it's a rule. Please wear it. It's fine. But I'm saying
it's an embodiment of
when you're walking,
personality.
When you're walking out on the road, right? People should feel like who is this guy and who are these people? And
intrigued by it.
And we invite people home. They come at times to our house and they say, how do you live like this? And I had this very beautiful experience when I had gone to, and this is 4 or 5 years after Bhagwan had left his physical form. A friend of mine had called me to Kerala, and it was a wedding reception kind of event of some of his relatives, someone, we don't know who it was, and it was kind of a black tie event. And so all of us were dressed in black shirts, jeans, very, very specific dresses, And it was like there were 100 guys all in the same clothes. And so me and my friend were walking around and just posing for photos. There were like 500 people in the hall. And then one man, just same clothes, again, he's wearing the same kind of senior person. He comes to both of us and says, you both are Sai students, right? I've never seen you from, I don't know him from Adam, right? Not does this boy know him. So we're like, sir, yes, but how do you know? All of us. He's like, no, you can come to know. So we're like, how? So he's like, no, it's kind of evident. And then this sir went on to reveal his story that he was a very senior customs or, intelligence officer who was sent once to Parthi to just look at, whether things are going on fine. And he was sitting right at the back of the, mandir. And then Swami came to him there, right? Swami came to him there and, kind of spoke to him saying, okay, you do what duty you come to do and then you can go in peace. It's fine. Everything is fine here. And he's saying from that time, I kind of, because of his experience of intelligence also, he just says, I can recognize people from Parthi. And it's not just about students. It's just about recognizing people from Parthi. We have to carry that glow. There's a beautiful part of that experience.
While blending in.
And during blending in also, there is this very, very, interesting fact that, we have been discussing a lot. No, more of the coffee, it's about that membership thing, right? To be spiritual, fundamentally, right? Some people feel that, 10 years ago, they did a lot of activities for some time. So that prepaid impact of that should carry us throughout our life. Whatever we want, we are spiritual. We are spiritual, done. That's all. Because we did that time. That's like, the definition of in Mumbai, a lot of people love this gymkhana concepts or clubs, You need to take a one-time fee you pay, and then you're always a part of this club, Rotary Club, Lions Club, things like that, right? But the concept of being spiritual is not like a gymkhana. It's rather more like a gym, right? You can stay fit not by having a membership of a gym and going once in a while to, walk on the, what is that called? Treadmill. You have to go every day. You have to lift weights. You have to do something every day, practice to stay in touch with it and stay fit. That is the fundamental of spirituality. It works on a daily basis. People at times say, you just went, you sang your one bhajan and you're done. That's like lifting one dumbbell and expecting your biceps to grow by 10 inches. That's not the point. The point is how extended does your practice start running. And what do you mean by practice? It just means simple performance. It just means you go to your job, you do the best at your job.
Another thing is also about the unison of thought, word and deed, which I feel is very important. What we think, what we say and what we actually act. It's very basic what we've learned in Valvikas and everything, but it is a very important measure because actually things start becoming true once you have this alignment. You get a lot of things falling in place with that.
So basically, if you want again the question about right about how do you measure that you're on the spiritual path, and very beautifully one professor of mine who was a physics professor told me, he said Newton's third law is ultimate, right? Even God falls into it because God is also reaction, reflection, and resound. Simple. You do something, you say this is true, it's good, it's fine. Swami takes it as that, and you will get that exact beautiful reaction of reaction, reflection, and resound. For example, he said that that's like a spiritual measure, right? And we were also very excited to see how are we spiritually measuring, right? So he said a very beautiful thing. He said, you start speaking the truth. Just absolutely start speaking the truth every day. It's very difficult. Start speaking the truth every day, all the time. He said, after a while, right, what you speak will start becoming the truth. And when you think about it, you don't have to go too far, right? The sages of yore would grant blessings like that, right? May you be blessed with a kid. May you be blessed with knowledge, or Sumangali Bhava, and all those things. That was based on that punya collected of speaking the truth over ages, which, when they speak, it actually comes true. The same thing with Swami, right? Absolute alignment of thought, word, and deed.
Yeah.
How can it go off then? What he says becomes the truth, right? That's the concept. So nice question again. For someone getting answer from Swami, you try chits and yes, no, or else whatever you want option. Then this has become a blind faith. What do you think? How far to trust the chit process? And should everyone keep on doing this or no? Very interesting. Again, I think it's all about reaction, reflection, and resound. And I think, again, it reminds me of this very nice question about decision making, which, when we were in Parthi, we were speaking about. And one professor told this very sweetly. He said that when you toss a coin, chits are basically like a coin toss, right? He said, when you toss a coin, right? It's either heads or tails. He said the minute you toss the coin in the air, you know what you want.
Yeah.
Right? Don't wait for the coin to fall on the floor. Follow what your instinct throws at you at that point of time. It's very, very, very important, because the same thing happens with, Swami also. Some people would tell Swami, Swami, I'll do whatever you want. And then Swami will tell something and then you can't practice it. Right? It becomes extremely difficult. Rather, if you have clarity, and as I said, Swami's reaction, reflection, and resound, if you have clarity saying, Swami, I want to do this, I want to go out, I want to serve my family, or I want to go and work in a corporate, I want to go to the US and pursue a PhD, you come to Swami with that. Rather than, putting that decision on the chit, saying I should go to US or not go. And then it comes as don't go. But you want to go. And then that goes into a complete toss. Right? So another beautiful aspect of being spiritual, I would say that, the chit process is kind of the end goal of spirituality. Whether, you need to put your faith in a chit rather than you start putting your faith in your foresight, which is a very beautiful, gift of spirituality, I would say. Modern spirituality grants you foresight. Correct? How does it happen? Two things. When you perform hard, right, you're continuously sharpening your intellect, your brain, you're reading, you're networking with people, you're watching the right kind of stuff, you're spending time with the right people, right? That's what you're sharpening your intellect with. That's what your brain is becoming intelligent about. And being intelligent is good. It is a part of being spiritual, right? The second thing is sharpening your discrimination. From there comes discrimination, whether to do the right thing or not, right? And this is exactly, again, going back to the initial definition of spirituality. Swami says, letting go of your animal tendencies. The one, what do you call it, virtue or one gift that humans have, which is above animals, is discrimination. A cheetah will not know whether it does not have a choice whether it should eat this deer or not. If it's hungry, it goes, it attacks. That's animal attitude. But in a human, there's a discrimination option, whether I should do this or not. And that can get sharpened through sharpening our intellect. So having your viveka and this thing, what do you call it? You should be able to take the buddhi and viveka, basically. Yes.
And until you don't do it, you'll keep getting opportunities and chances to sharpen it. That's how Swami does.
Absolutely.
Till you pass that level, he'll keep giving you those same kind of situations, so that he gives you another chance, So
if you want to move beyond the chit process, yes, lift so many chits that you stop lifting a chit, right? That's the point. Right. So that's that. I think pretty much what we wanted to speak about, I would say. I think the last one in spirituality, I would say, is, stop needing to please people. Spirituality is a very personal thing. Like, you're being spiritual for yourself. Stop needing to please people.
It's a self-directed thing in both ways. Not to give into external pressures in any way, right? So whether you need to please somebody external, or you need to take something from,
or your spirituality depends on 10 people telling you, oh, you are spiritual, sir. Yes. Oh, you are humble, you are devoted.
Yes.
Both of these are detrimental to spirituality. Modern spirituality, in a summary tone, is happiness, is being happy, is being fun, is being loved, is being able to just take nice, calm decisions and being successful. It's about being, people wanting to live like you.
Yeah. Living in the moment in every.
Yes. That for us, I think, is modern spirituality. We are dot on the 8 o'clock dot. So I hope we have stuck to time, dear hosts, and we have not bored the 51 people who risked themselves with us for an hour. So over to you. And again, opening up for questions. Anyone, any comments, anything? Please feel free, if there's anything else also, please, we can discuss it. There's no problem. Or later, I think we'll also leave our coordinates with Brother Naveen and all. You can take it from them. We can discuss this separately also, because there are quite, spirituality also is a very sensitive issue. So We've had 3 a.m. discussions in our past with some brothers and sisters who have come home and want to really delve into the way we live and have differences. It's very open. It's love. We love to do this. Very happy to.
Thank you so much for giving us the chance. But
Yeah.
I would just like to share
Please.
study circle that brother Dilip was sharing. No, he served Swami for about 13 continuous years. So he was telling about few things which we were discussing. One was about the work, how you work, so difficult in a position like mine. I'm like an audit. I have to do daily audit, sort of all the checkouts that take place. So in my case, it is very similar. So I know my work is to see that they don't make the mistake, or I find the mistakes and then go and tell them every time. This is very difficult because I'm rather like a bad man there, because they go there, they come to know that, oh, this person is again come. So they are, sort of, so how to manage it. So what happens here is, of course, before I start the day, I pray. I say, Swami, I know today again I'm going to get many people, but please help me. So I go, and when I go there, I smile at them. I said, I know this is a mistake you have done, but my job is to see that this doesn't repeat. This is a process. This is why they have kept me here. If they don't keep me here, if you don't make mistakes, I'm not there. My position is not there. So this sort of a thing, and I make it up, of course. Once this is my job, and after that I make it up with in a different way. So I know that, okay, because I have to do my job. I have to do my job. So it's something. Then also he was telling about Dr. Chennareddy once visited Puttaparthi. I'll try to cut short. Once he tried to, Dr. Chennareddy visited and was with Swami. And then one MLA came to visit Dr. Chennareddy, and he entered with slippers on. And the Sevadal person said, sir, please, this is not allowed and all that. So this person was very arrogant, and he said, he just did not listen to this Sevadal, and then he was just entering. And the person who was trying to stop him was very, very soft. He was very soft. And then after that, once there was another Sevadal who saw this person waiting for the Dr. Chennareddy, and then he saw that person was wearing slippers. He said, sir, you're not allowed to. Then this person was again trying to be little hard, and then the second Sevadal person, he almost said, please, you're not allowed to wear this. Please keep it. This is, otherwise I'll go and tell Dr. Chennareddy about it. So here what happened is Swami met both of them separately, both the Sevadal people separately. The first Sevadal people, he said, okay, what happened? Then he said, sir, such and such a thing happened. I tried to tell him, but he did not listen. He said, you should not be very soft. You should not be so soft. You're doing your duty and all that. At the same time, he went and met the second person. He asked him what happened. He said, this person said, sir, I had to say this. I said, yeah, but you can always be polite. So there are two messages for two different people, at the same time. So this is, so of course, this is your, you can always say whatever, but you have to be firm also about it, polite but firm. So that was something I just wanted to share. Sairam.
Thank you, sir. Brother Naveen, Sakshi, do we have time? There is a request for a certain experience, or how do we want to do it?
Yes, Bhaiya, we can take the experience.
Sure. Okay, I'll just share this again from my angle of spirituality. I'll just share this very small one. I think quite a few people must have heard it. So dramas were the way I could connect with Swami in a very simple tone. And the problem with me was that after a while I started growing pretty, both wide and tall. So doing positive roles, if you put it, in the mythological world of dramas, doing positive roles became very difficult. Means I would not qualify as a Krishna or a Rama for sure, because I was, taller and larger than the average audience, so they could never find a Lakshman of my size, and it was just not looking. So how do you survive, right? So I started going into the negative roles, the villains. Every drama needs a villain, for the hero to be successful, as they say. So I have kind of ended up playing every villain in front of Swami. Jaya Vijaya, all those avatars combined. Basically, I've done Duryodhana, I've done Hiranyakashipu, I've done Yama, I've done Alexander in a negative role, I've done Ravana, I've done all of it, right? And it became like standard that, you know, this guy is the villain kind of thing, because it was looked for that. So I did Hiranyakashipu once in my second year of undergraduation, and in my final year of post-graduation, as I was, you know, it's the final drama you're doing. It was a convocation drama. Swami kind of selects the actors, comes for the practices, looks at it with a lot of scrutiny, and, you know, gives a lot of attention. So all my classmates, all the directors, the seniors, all of them said, you know, this time let's try and give this fellow a positive role for once, so that Swami can look at him with loving eyes once at least. So I was also like, okay, you know, Swami's will, whatever comes. And when the final list of actors comes out and the roles allocated, I have been chosen to play Hiranyakashipu once more, round 2, right? And this is a 4-5, it's a 6-minute scene in a 60-minute drama, where it's basically where Hiranyakashipu discovers that Prahlada, you know, loves Vishnu, and, you know, he has come back from his education and he loves Vishnu instead of, you know, trying to say, Om Hiranyaya Namah, which was what everyone was saying, because he had thrown the gods out of heaven, right? And he was like the ultimate ruler. So this is the scene where, you know, Hiranyakashipu absolutely loses his cool and kind of kicks Prahlada off, like, kind of thing. But, you know, I was like, I talked to the main director and I said, why am I Hiranyakashipu again? Why can't I be looked at in positive light once? You know, and this senior director, out of, I don't know what came over him, he said, you know what, Swami is going to talk to you because you did this role. I said, you can't guarantee it. Nobody can guarantee it other than Swami himself. How can you guarantee that Swami is going to talk to me? So he said, he didn't reply after that. And then Swami comes for rehearsals, right? Swami comes to watch rehearsals. Comes for the first rehearsal, and all of us are there. And in this drama, there are all beautiful, positive characters. So there is Krishna, there is Radha, there is the Gopikas, there is Rukmini, there's Narada, there is Prahlada, there is Prahlada's mom. All of them have been extensively quoted by Swami in discourses. Like, Swami loves all these characters, say they are all great souls, lovely people, loving people, all that. And that full lineup is waiting there. And Swami is talking to each one of them. At the start of the drama, we used to sit like, you know, just waiting for Swami to come. And I'm sitting right at the end of it. Whatever, you get the seat, and your size also, you know, you kind of sit in the corner. So I'm waiting, and Swami comes, talking to each one of them. What is your role? Oh, you're Radha, very nice, my blessings. Krishna, oh, very beautiful, looking very nice, this, that. Talking to the director, oh, nice casting and all that. And then he looks at me and says, just go and start acting, go. It was like, you know, I'm like, Swami, I'm not a villain in real life. I have done it too many times, but please, you know, have some love for me. Swami, like, go, start the drama, we're getting late. I was so hurt. I looked at the director, like, he was standing behind Swami. I said, see, you are guaranteed Swami is going to talk to me. See what has happened. He's like, yeah, go yaar, act. So I went and I acted and did my, you know, screaming, shouting at Prahlada, you can't do this. And I am the god of 3 worlds and this and that. And I did it. I was hurt, but I did it. And at the end of the drama, Swami calls all the actors down. You know, you're sitting around Swami like a chotu mini interview. The 25-30 of us, and you know, it's after you spent 6-7 years with Bhagwan in the thing, you know, if he gives you that cold shoulder at the start of the, you know, when he's coming in from the drama, you know that you should position yourself right at the back of the pack. Basically the, you know, the loved one should go forward. So Swami is looking at each one of them like this in his normal style, and then saying, Krishna, very well done, this one very well done, dialogues are very nice, songs are very nice, singers have done well, this, that. So you're waiting for this beautiful word of Swami called Kani. Kani means but, right? So, and the other side of who falls on the other side of the but are the people who are in trouble. So everyone is, you know, this one is good, that one is good, everything is happening. We are waiting for the axe to fall. So it's like Kani. So then all of us like, Swami says, where is that Hiranyakashipu? I'm like, as though it was not enough at the start that you ignored me. I'm in that problem area of your performance also. And suddenly, you know, it's like, you know, Moses, you know, when he was crossing, or when Vasudeva was crossing with Krishna, you know, the entire crowd partitions. And, you know, I was like so far behind from Swami. Suddenly there's nobody standing between me and Swami, because this is that, you know, whiplashing time. And I go closer to Swami. Swami, what happened, Swami? Swami looking at the director saying, what, this fellow is Hiranyakashipu. He has no voice. He has no anger. He has no hate. Swami is telling me, you have to hate me. I am Vishnu. You to hate me. You to, kick Prahlada. What are you doing? No energy, nothing. And in the meanwhile, I'm like, I'm so close to Swami. I'm not going to lose the opportunity. I'm telling Swami, Swami, can I do Pad Seva? Swami like, in anger, he's saying, do it. But at the same time, he's firing also. And I'm going to come and see next time how you perform. Very bad. This. I'm like, okay, Swami, okay. I will, I will improve. 10 minutes, this firing goes on. And the end, he ends up talking to you the maximum, but it's like firing. So I'm like, okay, this way at least I'm getting a chance. It's okay. The next, so normally you feel in Swami's world, he says, next time I'm going to see you. It's like, okay, he might not, whatever. But the next, what do you call it, rehearsal was in Purnachandra Auditorium. And Swami comes and, Swami comes. And again, all the loved ones are sitting in the front, all the positive characters. I'm sitting a bit behind in the corner. And Swami's neck is craning like this. And then he looks at me and says, Hiranyakashipu, today I will see how you do. I'm like, yeah, this is proper encounters. This is encounter specialist this time. Swami is in full form. So I decided, this time I will show my anger. I went crazy. And the poor Prahlada boy was 1 year senior to me, poor fellow. I nearly pushed him off the stage and all, heavy violence nearly. Showed, screamed, shouted, and broke a step while walking down in anger. Okay, and I said, Hama, this is maximum I can do. And generally I'm not an angry person, but this was what it was. And Swami at the end of it looks at me and says, today was okay. I said, okay, Swami, thank you. And you think this is where it ends, right? He's given kind of, looked at your acting and he's happy. But then, this beautiful part comes of life, that in spirituality, Swami at times wants you to play the role, which he wants you to play. And you don't realize it. Whether it be positive or negative, in his eyes, it's a very different scheme of things. And on the last day, I was Hiranyakashipu. By then, people have realized that, Swami, this guy is like the target for Swami, so we'll put him in the front. I'm fully dressed up. There's Krishna, there's all these positive characters, but now I'm kind of a part of the mix. So Swami comes in and Swami looks at me and says, and for first time in history, the convocation drama, instead of being on the 22nd of November, was on the 21st. So, Swami in his human avatar tries to pretend as though he's confused. And he says, today is 21st. What are you doing here? He looks at me. I'm like, Swami, it's our drama. He's like, no, it's not your drama. Go away. No, it's not your drama. Tomorrow is your drama. I'm like, Swami, we have done makeup and all. It was planned to do today. Morning only it was announced. So he's like, no, it's not your drama. Go away. We are like, okay. And then, Swami goes inside the interview room. And then it's like, there's like an explanation session to Swami. Swami, no, actually, we preponed the drama. Now then Swami comes out and says, it's your drama. Okay, go, start acting. So, from being a part where, you are at the corner bottom of the pack, right, to the point where Swami starts looking at you and says, it's your drama, right? He starts giving you that thing that, you just do your role. It might be a 5-minute role in the grand scheme of things, but it's fine. And to top it all, right, this is where, his love, it goes from just being a small drama role to being, a mother of 1,000 mothers kind of thing. Is that my main director, he looks at us and says, I can't believe it. For the first time, there's a just before the drama starts, you have to take a card and a bouquet and all in front of Swami and give it to him seeking blessing. He says, for the first time, I'm sending a villain up front, right? This is the state of affairs. So, and I go and still, in front of me, Krishna is going. And I tell Krishna, you please go ahead. I'll walk behind, at least for the sake of the world. Let there be a positive character going in the front. Let the demon go at the back. And, that's the thing, what is the positioning from, Swami's view? What is the positioning from the people's view? How are you looking at it, right? Swami looks from this Krishna is walking. Swami looks from the side, looks at me and says, oh, Hiranyakashipu, now I recognize you. And that kind of floored me out. And, he said that you just play the role Swami wants you to play. It might be the role of the devil, but if it's Swami's devil, it's fine. In life also. Don't be afraid of doing punishments in case you might be hated by people, but you take Swami's name and do it, it's fine. That's spirituality for us. I think that's it, guys. I think I've taken more than your time, not intended, but thank you.
भगवान बाबा के कमलवत चरणों में मेरा कोटि कोटि प्रणाम और आप सभी को सप्रेम साई राम। डॉक्टर श्रुति और अक्षय जी को बहुत बहुत साई राम। साथ ही साथ मैं पूर्णिमा दीदी, हमारे मित्र रामदास कामत, सिनाय अंकल को भी बहुत बहुत साई राम बोलता हूँ, क्योंकि हमारा इन लोगों के साथ 25 साल संबंध रहा है। हमारे कामत साहब साईं कुलवंत हाल में सेवा करते हैं, मैं सिक्योरिटी ऑफिस में, और पूर्णिमा मैडम पूरा महिला मंडल संभालती हैं, और हमारे सेनाई अंकल स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के जो एंट्री काउंटर है वहां पर संभालते हैं। तो हम सब बहुत अच्छे से परिचित हैं, और मैं ऐसे माता पिता या अक्षय के नाना को प्रणाम करता हूं। आज हमारे थाना 2 के जो टीम ने प्रोग्राम रखा, डॉक्टर श्रुति अक्षय जी का, ये हमारा सौभाग्य है। और जिस तरह से उन्होंने आज बातें बताई कि हम लोग कुछ समय के लिए साईं कुलवंत हाल में हम बैठे हैं और उसका आनंद ले रहे हैं। उन्होंने स्पिरिचुअलिटी के बारे में एक मेन बात बताई, एक्शन में, कि जो एक्शन में ही बहुत चीजें कही नहीं जाती हैं, लेकिन अपने हाव भाव कर्म में ये मालूम पड़ता है। एक दोहा है, ऐसी बानी बोलिए मन का आपा होए, औरन को शीतल करे आपो शीतल होए। कि ऐसी भाषा बोलिए जिसमें कोई ईर्ष्या जेलसी न हो, दुख न हो, कि सामने वाला भी प्रसन्न हो, उसको भी आपकी बात अच्छी लगे और आपको भी आनंद मिले। ये देखा जाए तो स्पिरिचुअलिटी का जो मेन एक शॉर्टकट में है। तो आज यहाँ जो प्रोग्राम हुआ, मैं एज ए डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ थाना 2 की तरफ से डॉक्टर श्रुति अक्षय जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ, साई राम कहता हूँ। मुझे एक्चुअली आज मालूम पड़ा, क्योंकि हम लोग प्रशांति निलय में जब जाते हैं तो विशेष करके साईं जो कार्यक्रम के अलावा कुछ पूछताछ नहीं करते, आपके परिवार में कौन क्या है। साक्षी ने आज कहा कि आपको कुछ बोलना है, हम कहा तुम लोग बोलो। तो उन्होंने कहा कि अरे पूर्णिमा दीदी है ना आंटी, उनके ही बच्चे बहू हैं। तो मैं सोचा कि साक्षी ने तो पूर्णिमा के बहू बच्चे बोल दिया, लेकिन हमारे मित्र रामदास कामत की बहुत बच्चे हैं, ये बात उन्होंने नहीं बोला। और जब देखा कि सब लोग ज्वाइन हुए हैं, और निश्चित ही हमारे सेनाई अंकल, रामदास जी, पूर्णिमा जो भी सुन रहे होंगे, उन्हें बड़ा आनंद होगा। और मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि इन तीनों की तपस्या का फल है हमारे जो डॉक्टर श्रुति अक्षय जी हैं। तो मैं ज्यादा समय न लेते हुए मैं आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। और हमारी जो ये टीम, आईटी टीम है, नवीन है, साक्षी है, प्रसाद जी, जितने लोग भी इस प्रोग्राम को बनाए, उनको धन्यवाद देता हूं। और जितने लोग इस प्रोग्राम को देखे सुने, करीब 52 लोग, सबको बहुत बहुत साई राम। थैंक यू वेरी मच। जय साई राम।
साई राम अंकल, थैंक यू।
साई राम, थैंक यू।
अच्छा,
तत्सत् श्रीनारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरुतो सिद्धबुद्ध तु स्कंद विनायक सविता पावक तु सविता पावक तु ब्रह्ममर्जतो यहवशक्तितो येषु पिता प्रभुतो रुद्रविष्णुतो रामकृष्णतो रहीमतावतु रहीमतावतु वासुदेवो विश्वरूपतो चिदानंद हरितो अद्वितीयतो अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिवतो आत्मलिंग शिवतो आत्मलिंग शिवतो। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्व प्राणपते स्वामी सर्व प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मातपिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीरे स्वामी मरियन्तयु नीरे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्रशयन। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओ साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगलहारति अंदुको मंगलहारति अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण जय सद्गुरुदेवा। शांति 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 समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। परमं पवित्रं भावाविभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं भावाविभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि परमं पवित्रं भावाविभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं भावाविभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि परमं पवित्रं भावाविभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं भावाविभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि भावाविभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि साई भावाविभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि।
साई राम। मामा आप कुछ बोल रहे थे क्या? मैंने शायद म्यूट कर दिया। आप कुछ बोलना है?
नहीं, कुछ